Hello, everybody, and welcome to another community fortress. This fort was sent in by Ertovice, I think is how you say that. I apologize if I've butchered it, but this is the fortress of Equaledrop, of the Bejeweled Mines of the Yawning Dike. If you would like to send in a fortress for me to have a look at on the show, you can do that via my Discord server. There's a link down in the description. Also, keep an eye on that space because I'm planning a bedroom design competition as part of this series. Kind of like a spin-off thing, but I mean, it'll be a community contest instead of a community fortress, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm working on some other interesting things over there, so it's definitely worth checking out. But let's have a peek at this here fortress. If you would like to send in a fortress, simply go to the DF Save sharing room and zip your save folder as well as any mods in the save folder and upload it to the Discord server. Just simply copy what other people have been doing, and I'm sure you can figure it out. But from here, this is Ertovice's first real fort. So they say that this is what they describe as their first successful fortress in Dwarf Fortress. So up on the roof here we have a kind of a square space, and you know, this is going to be one of those fortresses where I'm going to be leaving a lot of feedback and giving ideas. Sometimes with fortresses I'm very focused on what's the word? More just I'm in awe of the beauty of this, and sometimes I go into a fortress going, I think I can help here. I think I can give you some advice. So this is a partially good biome, which is why we have all these feather trees being born here. But one of the first things that I'm noticing here is you've got cage traps everywhere, right? Now cage traps are great and all, but the problem with cage traps is wagons can't cross them. So if you do get to a point where you have more than just a mayor and you have a baron, they will not be able to cross these cage traps. So I would recommend, if you're going to do a setup like this, have one of these with no cage traps and just leave it shut. Or have a lever to shut it so that when enemies show up, you can just pull a lever in a convenient spot, maybe like close by a tavern or something, and it closes the side door so that the enemies are forced into the cages. Because if you did increase the popularity of this fortress, you wouldn't actually be able to get wagons, and you would get cancellation notices when they don't show up. So just keep that in mind. Now, as we move down a little bit, we are farming on the upper cavern layer. Farming in dirt is the least efficient form of farming. However, can be fine if you have just larger farm plots. Although it does mean more work for your dwarves. You will get 5 times the output, though, if you farm on mud, which is water poured onto stone and then left to dry, or in the cavern layers. We do have a little patch of livestock here with these stray semi-wild eagles, which are kind of cool, as well as a whole bunch of sheep. I'm sure the sheep are getting along just fine with the tame cougar who lives here. Cougar thinks it's a sheep after all. And then there's a coyote who's overwhelmed by terror who doesn't live here. There's just a coyote there because Dwarf Fortress. And then as we move down, there is some more farm plots, and of course you could just add more as needed. Large spans of space here that have been mined out, but eventually we're going to start hitting the fortress here. Now, down here is, of course, a row of unliving things to make things that try and attack the fortress stop living. If I take a peek at these spikes, we can see that they're connected to a cinnabar lever. So I'm assuming what they're doing with those spikes is they are connecting this, just getting somebody to just pull these repeatedly, closing this bridge, and then trapping stuff in here and just killing them with that. For me, what I would do is I would have a space that you can route things over onto, say maybe like this, with a door here and a door here, or a drawbridge here and a drawbridge here that you can pull a lever for, and then just have a pig, okay? Connect that pig to a chain, okay? And then that pig's going to move up here, it's going to move over here, it's going to move over here, it's going to move down here, and then just wall that pig into a 2x2 square about this big. So there's a pig on a chain in a room this big. Put a pressure plate, right here. Yeah, and then the pig will occasionally step on the pressure plate as it kind of moves back and forth, and that will make your things go up and down. Or you could use a minecart switch, like my tutorial on YouTube on how to make a repeating minecart machine, which will repeatedly make those spikes go up and down, and then simply redirect things onto the spikes as needed. Very effective format of unliving things. Now that we're done discussing unliving things, we've made it to actual fortress where the living happens. Isn't that lovely? We have a nice size hospital down here, a very large and, of course, nicely set up. I was going to say tavern, but it's actually just a meeting area. I would specify this as a tavern. Click on this and then go to the new inn and tavern button. So click on the little plus symbol here, new inn and tavern, and then set it as a tavern so they can go there and dance, unless you've got one elsewhere. There is a dining hall down here and a library here, as well as many temples, many of which are disabled. Now, you might notice immediately there is a dwarf here meditating on trade, right? That's the queen consort at this temple. So it doesn't matter, actually, if you disable the temple. They just ignore it. I'm not sure why that button's even active for disabled temples. I think it's just like they stop acting as a meeting zone like this when you disable it, so dogs and random pets won't hang out there, but they still will go to those places to trade even if they are disabled. I'm not totally sure why. Dwarf Fortress. Over here we have a nice little power machine setup that is flowing from down here, up into here, and then back down around. It's, your kind of typical infinite power generator. There's several different methods of doing that. I might make a video at some point, like 5 different ways to make infinite power in Dwarf Fortress or something, because there really is quite a few different ways. Actually, you know what? I think that's my project for this evening. Now I know what I'm doing this evening. Excellent. And then down here, we have a lovely little... Actually, this is one of the most interesting setups for a mist generator that I've ever seen. I mean, it's certainly working. It's going in circles, and it is powered after all. So interesting. I've just never seen one with just the gears like in the middle of it like that. That is a interesting way of doing things. Huh. You move up one, you can kind of see the extra gears. If you move down one, now I'm going, okay, are you using another trick here to power this? Where's the power for this coming from? There's none above, none below. I'm actually kind of at a loss here. I don't know how this is powered. Interesting. That's kind of an interesting thing to see. But down here we have more guild halls just kind of scattered around, as well as space for more, as well as a bunch of forges and workshops. A very kind of, I would almost say Tekid-esque design with lots of very tightly held together corridors, and everything's very well thought out and planned. You have these craftsdwarf shops with all these bone crafts that are queued up, and then there's a stockpile of bones linked to it, and then here there's a carpenter shop with a similar situation. Down here we've got an infinite stockpile with metal bars being stored for the forges. Like, it's just, everything is very well organized, and I kind of like that. Up here we have a big old food stockpile. Also, like, perfectly legitimate amounts of food. Like, this fortress is not suffering from over hoarding. Then as we move down, there are these bedroom designs. I don't like this way of doing bedrooms. I've seen people do them many times, just kind of like the long ones. I don't like them. Like, to me, they're like, in Dwarf Fortress, you're not limited for space, right? Use the space. Like, give these dwarves some elbow room. Like, we're not building a Japanese hostel here. Come on. Come on, that's just torturous. But, very effective at the same time. Like, even though it's a strategy that I don't use, like, it is perfectly effective and works just fine. I don't like that way of building bedrooms. As we move down, there's some spaces that are very unfinished, although this fortress is ready to be retired, so they have deemed it complete. Down here we have a little barracks, which could use some work. Give them some beds, give them somewhere to store their armor, some armor stands, some weapon racks, all that jazz. And then down here, we have magma forges, which kind of go over here and come from up here. Now, they did use Gabbro floodgates and Gabbro mechanisms, so I personally would pull this lever and close this, because you're not going to run out of lava. These do not deplete the forges, but what will happen is little critters may come crawling through here and going, this is a way out, and come up through your forges. And that is a very good way to suddenly have dwarves no longer living, and that's why you need these places for dwarves who go to sleep who don't wake up. As well as, wow, that is beautiful. This is definitely like the prize jewel of this fortress. We have the artifact chamber, which I really like this design. This is really cool. I like these kind of cross things. They look neat. Olivine all the way around with a nice green look to things, engravings everywhere and statues, and then all of the artifacts just kind of placed around in places. Yeah, that is really cool. And then cage traps at the front, as well as a drawbridge and more cage traps. Awesome. Something I would do is I would install like a ham radio as in a pig on a chain or something over here behind a fortification. So if anybody is coming in, you'll see who's doing the thing. And if anybody does try to steal stuff like from up here, I would have fortifications set up so that your ham radio could see and witness and report the crimes accurately, as a pig should. And then there's just this tiny little stairwell that just kind of goes all the way down. And that's pretty much the fortress of Equaledrop, equal parts good and drop. I'm not a huge fan of this bedroom design, as I was saying earlier, but aside from that, this fortress is a solid start to the game. You've got a lot of really neat ideas here, and you're definitely keeping your dwarves happy. Try not to depend too heavily on things like mist generators. Try and keep your dwarves happy without them. But aside from that, because you don't actually need them. But aside from that, my only real criticism is that you didn't make this into a tavern. You just had it set as a meeting zone. They do need that tavern in order to be able to dance and get married and things. But like you've got a hospital set up, and that's all properly set up, as well as people have nicknames, and I hope you're enjoying the video game, considering this is your first real successful fortress. If you want to see more fortresses like this and want to send in one for me to have a look at on the show, you can do that via my Discord server. Link is down in the description. I said that at the beginning of the video. And of course, I'm working towards doing a contest with some merches, prizes, and some other fun stuff. And it's going to be a bedroom design contest. So if you are an avid bedroom designer in Dwarf Fortress or like making pretty rooms, keep an eye on this space. Well, I'll have an announcement in a few days. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to support me directly, you can check out my merch or watch my streams at twitch.tv/blindIRL. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.